Welcome back to our full house renovation here in Yorkshire in the UK. We're on the home stretch now for our rear extension, and as you can probably tell, winter's well and truly here. It was -2 degrees when the builders arrived this morning. Luckily last week, and what was a huge milestone for the project, the underfloor heating went into all of the rear extension area. And that included the floor insulation itself, and then the heating pipes which run through the insulation, and then finally a final layer of concrete screed, which made for really interesting viewing on the time-lapse. And with the floor poured on the rear extension, it made all the difference because suddenly it felt like part of the house. And although we feel like we're probably on the home straight for this rear extension, the reality is there's still lots to do, and it's going to be super busy right until the end of December. And so that brings us nicely to this week's work. So this week the plasterers are here, and their first job is to do all of the boarding, so all of the ceilings and walls and all of the edging beads. And as with all home improvement work, preparation is key. So they're spending the time that they need to get this right because they want the best possible finish once they start skimming. In the meantime, the builders are building a media wall for us, and we're really excited about this. We've never had a media wall. We've always just had TVs on TV stands. And so this is going to bring us kicking and screaming right up to modern day living. And it's super interesting to see how they go about building that. And eventually it's going to be skimmed in and it's just going to look like it's built into the wall. So it should look really good. And finally, later on in the video, Karen and I are going to be looking at work surfaces for our new kitchen. We've managed to narrow down our options a little bit, but in true Karen and Phil fashion, we're having a little bit of trouble making the final decision. We really are absolutely terrible at making decisions like this, so we're going to give a few options to you guys and we're hoping you can help us out. Okay, so that's it. There's a lot to do, so let's get to it. This plasterboard is literally days of work, condensed into just a couple of minutes of footage for you, because some of the boards have to be cut to shape, all of them have to be screwed up nice and tight, and as you'll see in a minute, if you have anything like a Velux window or any other kind of opening or outcropping, then you have to cut round them. And now with all of the boarding completed in the rear extension, the Veluxes are again obscured just a little bit, and so there's some more trimming out of the plasterboards to do for each one of them. Also in the rear extension, Finn and Lee are putting a frame in place, and that's ready for some black double doors that are going to go in later, and this will be the main doors from the entranceway into the rear extension, and they'll look a little bit like this. They're also assembling this door frame, which will be the doorway between the utility room and the garage once everything's done. So now Lee's helping us plan out a media wall for our main rear extension area, and then he's going to build it for us.
Yeah, I think the shelves look nice across the front. So I don't, we can make the telly higher.
But then I think
you don't want it too high.
By the way, if you're new to the channel, video 10 was our most popular video ever, I think there's something people like about the roof removal and replacement. So if you want to check it out, I'll put a link to the top of the video now and also in the video description. Anyway, I digress. Where were we? Ah, yeah, that's right. So just having a look around the rear extension area. Ignore the buzzing, that's a transformer that I think is going to blow up in a minute. But as long as it keeps going. So obviously we're moving towards getting all of this area plastered. But they've taken a lot of care to get it really level. And this is all the way around because obviously there's a lot of windows and a lot of doors in here. And that's before you even look at the ceiling with all of the Velux windows that have been put in. And if we go down the other end, and have a look at the media wall again, you can see that's all been boarded out as well. And this is going to be skimmed, and so it's going to give that built-in sort of look. The plasterers have moved on to boarding the garage ceiling. This is also a lot of work because it's a vaulted ceiling and there's a couple of curves up there as well. Lots of Velux windows again. So they're keeping busy with this. And then also there's another area of the garage. So if you remember where we were putting insulation in last week's video, part of the original garage, well, we've got all that to board up as well. We're getting very close now to the plastering. Just a few things to mention. So the first is all of these edges are being taped. That's all the pink tape you can see up there. And then also I mentioned edging trims around the reveals for the windows just to tidy up those corners. Well, they've all been fitted as well now. And it can be a big part of the job because anywhere there's a corner, that's where you need these corner beads. So windows and doors, of course, but then other things like this as well. So this is the opening where the back of the wall's being knocked down into the extension. So it's so tight for the units that we want to get across here. Remember, this is the utility room, so there's going to be a big bank of cabinets across here and a hidden door which looks like a wall unit. Well, anyway, it's so tight that they're actually chiseling off here because we need that extra 10 to 15 millimeters in order to get what we want into this space. So behind me here is where Lee put the new door frame in, and that's where our double doors are going to be going from the entranceway here through into our new kitchen area. It's going to look great when it's done, but in the meantime, it's only about 2 degrees out at the moment. In fact, as you saw probably earlier on in the video, we got a little bit of snow. It was just getting too cold in here. So the other thing that it'll also help with is they're about to get on with the plastering in there. And this is our temporary kitchen in the entranceway. It was just getting too dusty. That black plastic's hopefully going to keep dust coming through to this area as well and make it a lot nicer for us. I think the plasterers were relieved to be getting on with some actual plastering. As you can see, they've skimmed all of the ceiling area here. This is the kitchen, and then that extends through to the utility room. And as you can see, that ceiling smooth as glass, which is where the real skill comes in. So that was yesterday's work. So it'll be interesting to see what they do today. I think that they're going to be moving into this rear extension area. The ceiling looks really tricky in here because of all of the Velux windows. Let's have a look at it. We'll get an idea what it looks like before they start. Yeah, so as you can see, this area is much more complex. So here in the rear extension, you'll see that there's a sloping part of the roof that's running across here. And then there's actually a flatter part up at the top. And so what the plasterers are doing is they're doing a transition to blend in those two areas. So they've got the first coat of bonding in there. So if I pan across the ceiling, you'll see they've done that all the way across. And they go for like a scratched surface on it so that the next layer that they put on will adhere really well. So the plasterers have been working late because once you get started on a ceiling like this, then you have to just keep going over it and over it until you get to the final finish. So a late one for them. It's a big ceiling, but it's looking great. So let's have a look at it. I think in particular, he's done a really good job at doing this transition from the slope into the flat bit at the top. Like the other ceiling he did, it's just smooth as glass. Now the plasterers are moving on to doing the ceiling in the garage conversion, and because the ceiling's so high, they need these trestles to stand on. Similarly to the ceiling in our single story rear extension, there's a curve as well as a flat up there. In fact, in the garage ceiling, there's actually two curves. So what you can see here is the plasterer doing bonding, very similar to what we just saw in the rear extension, as the first coat to get this transition going from where the sloping ceiling meets the flat in the middle.
So the plastering here is pretty much dry now, and we're really pleased with the finish. It's come up really nice and smooth and flat, so I'm not going to really need to do any prep before painting, so that's good news.
So today we're having a bit of a run out to look for work surfaces for our kitchen. So you probably remember a couple of videos ago that we finalised the design of our kitchen and we placed the order. Well, today we've got a door, the right colour, and we're going around most of Yorkshire looking at different places at stone. So we've been to Pudsey to a couple of places, and now we're just having a run to York as well. And we're trying to take photos of our favourite ones as we go along, so I'll pop some of those up on the screen now. But it really helps when you go to a showroom because often you can see bigger slabs, and also then you can hold your door coloured up next to it, and then that makes it a little bit easier to make these sort of choices. So in summary, we visited 7 stone suppliers, and if I'm being completely honest, Karen visited them all, and then I only got involved once she'd already narrowed it down a little bit. And on those visits, we looked at hundreds of designs, and we probably looked at too many designs, and it probably made it more difficult for us. But from those hundreds of designs, we took away about 15 samples of stone, and I'll show you a few of them now. As you can see, there was quite a lot of variation in the different styles and the different colours, but we did finally narrow it down to 2, and this is where you guys come in. So this one's sample number 1, and I'll get it nice and close to the camera for you. And this one's called New Fantasy. So what do we like about it? Well, first of all, the design is quite subtle, so we think that it's not something we're going to go off of easily. but at least there's still something in the pattern which we can use to match against the doors and other things. And this does match the colour of the doors really nicely when we took the sample of the door in to hold next to it. Now the second one, they didn't actually have a sample to give us to take away, but it's the one that the fork truck pulled out, so we have some really good footage to show you. And this one's called Marron Fantasia. And there's a couple of things that we like about this. So first of all, the pattern's a bit more bold, but as I mentioned with sample one just a minute ago, we really are balancing that against, will we go off of the design over time? Obviously number one's the safer one. This one makes a little bit more of a statement. The other thing that we like about Marron Fantasia is that you can get it in book match slabs. So the peninsula is actually quite long, which means it has to be formed of at least 2 pieces. And the book matching means where the 2 slabs meet, they can make the pattern flow and match up to each other. So I'll put them back up for the screen for you now. And so we would really like help making this decision. So if you've got the time and you've got an opinion, then please drop a comment in the comment section below. And that's it for this week, but we've got loads coming up in the next video. So if you're enjoying the videos, then please give us a thumbs up and maybe even subscribe if you want to catch the next video, and hopefully I'll see you there. Thanks for watching, bye for now.